All right, what's up everybody? This is Carter Thomas, and I wanted to just do a free video for you guys. I posted on my page, personal page and my business page a couple days ago about what you're interested in. A lot of people are interested in cryptocurrency things, cryptocurrencies in general. And so I just wanted to post a video that hopefully helps you out and just gets you some information so that you know it's like what the heck is going on. You can make informed decisions on what's happening with this whole world. And if you're interested, what you can do about it. I think a lot of people are just like, it's in the news, they're hearing about all these people making millions of dollars in like a week. And some of you are just like, this is just cool to hear about. Some of you, maybe you want to get involved in it. And I just want to give you some information because it can be a little overwhelming out there right now. It's kind of confusing. It is a confusing world, but I'm hoping that I can at least get the ball rolling for you. And I'm going to do more of these, especially if you enjoy this, to just paint the picture. So I want to do a few things. I'm just going to run through. I have a list of topics that I want to cover for you and hopefully get you some answers. Now, I've been in cryptocurrencies for like 3 or 4 years now. I've been interested in them. I've gotten serious about it for about 8 months. So I definitely know what's going on. I don't know as much as some people do because I'm not a hardcore trader. I don't know all the technical terms as much, but I will do my best to explain it to as if I'm talking to someone who's never done anything with trade, with finance, with cryptocurrencies or anything. First question is, what is Bitcoin? What the hell is this thing? And the best description I can give you is that it's a form of currency. It's, in a perfect world, it would replace dollars, euros, Canadian dollars, bolivars, pesos, like anything that's a currency. Bitcoin would and could replace it, right? Imagine having just one uniform currency for buying and selling anything. Now, the big difference is that, and this is like one of the big paradigm shifts that's really difficult to wrap your head around, especially when you're just getting started, is that Bitcoin is not built on a central bank. So things like the US dollar or the euro or anything, they're built on, in our case, the Federal Reserve. It used to be on the gold standard, now it's on the Federal Reserve, meaning that I know that this $20 bill is $20 because the bank will honor that $20, right? They set the interest rates and they kind of determine what the value money has within the market. What Bitcoin does is it decentralizes money, meaning that instead of the Federal Reserve and one central bank determining money and being able to print more money or deflate money, Bitcoin is built on what's called a blockchain. And what a blockchain is it's just a standing ledger of all the transactions that are happening. And that ledger is publicly available. The transactions are anonymous, but that ledger is publicly available. So that every time a transaction happens, every time that I pay you money in Bitcoin or you pay me in Bitcoin, a transaction is lodged in that ledger somewhere, and it can go and be matched up against the greater Bitcoin pool, right? There's 21 million Bitcoins available. This transaction will say, okay, this was taking place. There's value here because the math equation says that this fits into that greater pool. Now I know that that's a very strange and almost sci-fi topic or concept to think about, but in a lot of ways it makes a lot of sense. Kind of a side note, I just read an amazing book called Homo Deus by this guy, I can't remember his name, but go check it out. And he talks about how evolution is really built on the idea of decentralization, about moving power and information away from central sources and giving it to or spreading it across the people in this case. And that's really what this currency does. So it would, in many ways, remove the power from a central bank and decentralize it, which is a much better system. It's much more secure. It's much more stable. It has much more integrity, like structural integrity, not ethical maybe. But it scares a lot of people because it's completely new, completely different. It's susceptible potentially to hacks and things like that. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is it's a way to have a currency that doesn't require a central banking system. It is decentralized so that people can all have their own Bitcoin. They do a transaction, and then that transaction is on a public ledger called a blockchain, which then gets recorded into the greater, whatever you call it, like pool of record out there, so that it all the math works out. Okay, there's other nuances to Bitcoin, but for this video at least, that's what we'll start with. Now the second question, not only have people heard a lot about Bitcoin, people have been hearing a lot about Ethereum. So you can see on this chart, like this is Bitcoin, BTC, like that's what Bitcoin is. And then ETH, that is what's called Ethereum. This is the other big one that's been getting in the news lately. And Ethereum is a little different because it's not quite as transactional. It's not built the same way that Bitcoin is. It's built more on smart contracts. And what this means is that when the two things need to connect, and they create a contractual loop, which then gets matched back to the greater blockchain of Ethereum. There's 91 million Ether out there, which is the name of the actual currency. But Ethereum is more of a platform. Bitcoin is more of a currency, right? And I know we'll get into the details in more videos if you guys want to, but that's what you need to know. So when you're talking about Bitcoin, it's kind of like the first ever big currency that's built on a blockchain. Ethereum is an evolution of that. In my opinion, it's a much better platform. It's much smarter, and it can be applied not only to money, but some of the biggest adopters of Ethereum are law firms, investment banks, because you can use this same technology to write contracts, right? To write things like escrow, to make sure that things happen, like contractual obligations are met in order to release different parts of the blockchain. So I know this gets a little crazier, but Ethereum is more of a platform, right? And so if it gets adopted, it potentially has more use cases than just a currency, versus Bitcoin really was built as a currency, as a replacement, or as a substitute, or synergy to the existing currency. So that's what that is. Now, the final piece is what's called altcoins. Now, you'll see more of these if you look at this chart. We're looking at Bitcoin, we got Ethereum, we got all these other ones, right? This is called Litecoin, this is called Monero, Zcash. I mean, there's all these different ones, Augur, Dashcoin, Dogecoin, and there's literally thousands of these. If you open up this coin market cap, you can see how many of these are out there right now, and dozens of these every week are having what are called an ICO, which is an initial coin offering. It's like an IPO for a new coin. And you can imagine that, so what are altcoins? That's the question. Altcoins are really anything except Bitcoin, and I would say Ethereum at this point. And maybe Litecoin, but like the top coins are kind of they're considered themselves cryptocurrencies, and then altcoins are really everything else. I'm sure there's a more precise definition of like technically what it all means, but for all intents and purposes, I think that that's what you need to know. And it's kind of like the best analogy is their penny stocks. So if Bitcoin is Apple stock, altcoin like Golos or eDinar coin is a penny stock, right? And you can see the market capitalization, which means how much money is in that market, is like 6.8 million versus these top ones, which are 10, 17, 41 billion. So these altcoins are really penny stocks, and they're easy to manipulate because you put in $1 million into pink coin, and all of a sudden you just raise the market cap by 20%. That price could go up 20% as well. So these are highly risky. They're highly susceptible to what's called a pump and dump, which anyone who knows anything about penny stocks or seen The Wolf of Wall Street, that's like, it's completely illegal, but this is really the Wild West. And so the this world, the altcoin world, in my opinion, is like the more risky, dangerous, susceptible to regulation. I think in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, like the government's going to come in and just clean house on some of these altcoins, because it's just ridiculous what you can do. At the same time, there are plenty of people that are capitalizing on this and making a ton of money, and building products. In some cases, these products do things that Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin just can't do. For example, Zcash and Monero started as altcoins. Now, I mean, they still are, but they're getting bigger. But they have like complete privacy, right? There's absolutely zero paper trail to those two, right? Like Monero here and Zcash. And so there's some use cases for them. They started as very small coins. Now they're getting bigger. So if you hear the term altcoins, that's what it means. It really just means like alternative coins. It means that they are small market cap, unique in their service offering, and oftentimes they use the same blockchain that Bitcoin, or I should say mostly on Ethereum, is built on, right? So it'll kind of piggyback on top of these main platforms to build their own coin, right? Their own currency that just operates in a different way. So that's what you need to know. All coins are basically the penny stocks of this world. Bitcoin is the main currency. Ethereum is like this new platform that has a currency tied to it. And you see this Ethereum Classic. That's just, you get these things called hard forks in currencies, which is when the currency splits into new currencies to whatever. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's why you see Ethereum, you see Ethereum Classic and things like that. All right, so that's the opening of it. Now it's the next question. What are exchanges? Okay, so you may be looking at this, or any of these. This is like the live exchange. It's like live pricing, right? And you can see, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but since we started this video, like the price has already changed significantly for some of these currencies. I mean, that's how volatile this thing is right now, both good and bad. And so you may be looking at this and being like, okay, well, let's say I wanted to buy some Bitcoin, right? Let's say I wanted to buy some Stratus or some Zcash or something. How do I even get it, right? Well, what you need to do is you need to exchange your currency, whether you have rupees, whether you have US dollars, whether you have euros, whatever. You need to exchange that money for Bitcoin, okay? You need to go in somewhere and exchange it for that. It's kind of like if you want to buy stock, you got to go to a stockbroker who buys the stock, go to E-Trade or Vanguard or whatever, and buy it and turn your money into stock. It's the same idea. And so you can go to exchanges. Many are based in the US, but there are some that are based in individual countries that you can check out. Just type in whatever country you're in. But for the US, there's the two big ones. There's Coinbase and there's Gemini. Now, there's a few others out there. There's Kraken, which is a Bitcoin exchange. They're actually based here in San Francisco, and Poloniex. Poloniex is more of like a trading platform, Kraken to a certain extent, but these are all places where you can put like $100 in. You can use your credit card, you can use your debit card, you can use your bank account, and on the flip side, you will get Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin in the value that you are looking for, right? So if you dropped right here $2,386 into your Gemini account, you would get one Bitcoin, or like the equivalent of that amount of money, right? You can't, for the most part, you can't directly exchange your currency like US dollars into an altcoin. You typically have to deposit it into Bitcoin and then turn Bitcoin into one of these altcoins. And you can do that on something like Poloniex. You can use something like shapeshift.io, which will create that transaction for you. But that's when it gets really complicated. But that's how it's really done. The first step is turning your current cash into Bitcoin. And you can do that on Coinbase, Gemini, anything like that. All right. So that's what an exchange is. So if you want to turn your dollars into that. There's a bit of a process, right? So I will tell anybody, if you're concerned about, like these guys don't mess around. Like you gotta submit your personal information. You gotta upload your driver's license if you want to be able to, put in like $10, $15, $50,000. Like if you just want to put in a couple $100, you don't need to do that. But if you want to like actually, do $50,000, $100,000 at a time, you're gonna have to upload your verification stuff. That sketches out some people, but it's part of the game. Like they got to verify you, and the United States government at least has made this all like cryptocurrency is now recognized by the IRS. So you have to have some sort of paper trail as you get into this world. The days of not reporting the stuff are long gone, as they should be, right? I don't recommend that. I've never done that. I would never recommend anyone do that. All right, so the final thing is how to get started. Now, first thing, the shameless plug. If you want to get $10 free, go to cardamus.com/Coinbase. Coinbase will give you $10 if you deposit 100, so it's free $10. I get $10 if you do it, so there's something in it for me. But I figured if you're going to do it, why not, right? Gemini, I think, is really good. This is owned by the Winklevoss twins, the guys who sued Zuckerberg for stealing Facebook. They went all in on Bitcoin a couple of years ago. This is their platform. It's great. Coinbase and Gemini definitely seem to be the most popular for like the average person in the US who's just wants to get in the game. These are the two that you should check out. Coinbase is probably easier and more user-friendly. It's got a great app, but it's had a hard time staying with their uptime, right? They've been overloaded recently because of the amount of volume, because they're so popular. Gemini is a little lesser known, but people have had really good experiences with them. And so you can check that out. These two, Poloniex and Kraken, are also very, very good, but they're more technical. Like you're going to log into these, and it's going to look more like a stock ticking area, and it's not going to be as like, here's how you do it. Here's a great UI for you. So as you get more advanced, these can be really good. But in the meantime, I would recommend Gemini. I'd recommend Coinbase. Just from my own experience and from talking to a lot of people about this sort of stuff. So that's how you get started. You can go in, you can put in a debit card, you can put in a credit card, you can get some basic verification in there into either one of these. It may take a couple days if you want to put in like more than $1,000, I think, because they got to verify you. But otherwise, you can get going. You might not see the Bitcoin in there immediately, but there will be a record that you bought it, so that when it does balance out, maybe in like a week, it'll be there at the price you bought it. So you just can't trade with it, but you still have it. You have a record of buying it. So that's how you can get started with either of these. And if you want to get started on altcoins, you still gotta put your money into either Gemini or Coinbase as a right. You got to get the Bitcoin in there, and then you can pull this back up, and then you can convert it into whatever you want. But you got to start with the Bitcoin side. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview. I think in subsequent videos, and please leave a comment if you have any questions. I would love to hear about like what you're most interested in. I know at the end of the day, what you guys really care about is like, should you buy it? When should you sell it? How do you make money with it, right? And we'll talk about that down the road, but like I'm not an oracle. I can't predict the future. And anyone who tells you they can predict the future is lying to you. So this is more about just getting you guys educated on what's happening so that you don't make any dumb decisions, and so that if you want to be in the game, you're making smart decisions. So yeah, it's a really exciting business to be in. There's a lot of really cool interest. I think that anybody who has any experience in the financial or trading world this is probably the best opportunity you're going to see, maybe ever. The guys I know who are making like the big money right now are, one, guys who got in really early, men and women, I should say. And two, people that are really studying the way that these markets are moving and buying and selling accordingly on the trade side, being smart traders. And there's a few guys that I'll introduce you to that are, I mean, it's serious how much money they're making. And it's not going to be, I think this will last for about a couple of years because this market is just getting bigger and bigger. But those are the two real ways. Anyone else, it's BS. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'll do my best to answer it. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I think it's always cool to shed some light. This has been a very good endeavor, but I'm just learning myself. So I'm gonna share this as much as I can. So in the meantime, guys, have fun. If you're interested in getting some Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin, go to Coinbase, carterthomas.com/Coinbase, make a deposit, get in the game. If not, leave a comment and let me know what you want to see in the next video. All right, guys, signing out. Peace.